Game over. Put the man in the All-Star game. Frank Vogel likes to say he and the team are good at blocking out the outside noise. Let's hope that's true as he prepares to face one of his former teams. Lakers try to pick up a second straight win when they host the Indiana Pacers. Tip-off coming up at 7:30 right here on Spectrum Sports. Hello and welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Southern California Toyota dealers. I'm Chris McGee. Big game James Worthy. Big shot Rob is here. Robert Ory. Allie, welcome back. She'll be in later. Brez down at Staples. Trudell, the whole gang. How we doing? Big game. Hitting big putts. Lakers are winning the game.
Yeah.
Bounce back.
Well, hitting the big putts right now is critical. But yeah, the Lakers are. The Lakers, hey, they haven't turned the corner quite yet. Yeah. But after a very disappointing and probably one of the worst losses in franchise history, versus the Denver Nuggets, and LeBron puts out the tweet. They're under the microscope, under a lot of criticism. They responded against the best offensive team in the league, and also they, did what they were supposed to do, and that's what we expect, win or lose. So, I'm happy.
Big Game hit a 50-foot putt today on 18 to beat John Ireland. I got eyes everywhere, all over the city.
I hear you then, Big Game.
I wanted video, though, Rob.
I know, right?
50-footer.
Halfway there, I see it.
Rise up.
All right. Lakers improved defense versus the Jazz, guys. The main reason for the win. It was statistically one of the worst games of the season for Utah. Let's compare that game to the defense that was being played during the three-game losing streak. Lakers were giving up a league worst 128.3 points per game in that span. They held the number one Jazz offense to only 95 points. Opponents were shooting a ridiculous 54% from the field and making 15 threes a game, shooting 45% from beyond the arc. On Monday, they only made 12 and shot 26%. So a lot of chatter, as James mentioned. Legends tweeting, LeBron apologizing, outside noise, rumors, all of that, Rob. Playing one of the top teams in the league in possibly a desperate situation. Was that the inspired performance you were looking for?
It was, and I think when you have a team like the Utah Jazz, who was one of the best teams in the league last year, to come into your building after getting smashed by, Denver like that, you needed this challenge to see where you were as a team, to see how you was going to handle some adversity, how you was going to respond on your home court. They came out, they played exceptionally well on defense, and I was very proud of how they rotated, how they talked, how they played with some energy and effort, because we've seen sometimes on their rotations, they're just pointing at the guy like, hey, get out there. But they were out there, their rotations were tight, they were getting hands, they was forcing them off the three-point line. So I looked at that defensive effort they had, and it was fantastic.
James, you want to see it consistently, though? Followed up with another one.
It's a must. Yeah. They want to see it consistent. They know in order to win, that's where they have to play. So, yeah, that's what we expect, from the beginning of the season until now. I mean, the building was on fire.
Yeah, it's nice.
They had to get out, and they responded with that type of urgency. Yeah. So, yeah, they have to continue to do that.
All right, the win was great, but the next day, the top story in the NBA was that Frank Vogel almost lost his job after that Denver game. For more on tonight's matchup, let's get you live to Crypto.com Arena. Lakers reporter Mike Trudell is standing by with more. Hi, Mike.
Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome to downtown Los Angeles, and on this occasion, Geeter, doing something that we've had to do probably a little bit too often this year, and that's figure out who's going to play. But it's just one guy who was the question mark, and that is Carmelo Anthony. And let me just spoil it by saying that he is in. Nonetheless, here's Frank Vogel putting it in his words, not just about his status, but about what Melo's been doing the last couple of days to get himself back after that lower back tightness.
We hope so. Yesterday was a day where he really felt like he turned the corner, and obviously got a little bit of work this morning. He felt good, so he's good to go.
Frank, just wondered, in that Utah game, you had the kind of the big unit to start, and then the small group around LeBron playing different styles, and it seemed like it all worked. Is that something you think can be sustainable, and how tricky is it to have guys going in and out and sometimes switch a style within a game?
Yeah, well, we'll see. That's there was something specific that I wanted to see with the Utah matchup that led to that rotation, and we'll see if that's something that applies to tonight's game. With Anthony out, we're really looking at this on a game-to-game basis in terms of what lineups are required to win that game.
Hey Frank, what if any feedback have you received about your job performance over the last week or so?
About my job performance? None. I mean, I meet with our front office and talk about the previous night's game. Every game all year. It's been that way for 3 years, and it's not been different this week or of late.
Frank, with Anthony, as he kind of ramps up over this week, was he able to do anything in terms of on court yesterday, in terms of contact?
Yeah, I'm not sure about yesterday. He was on the court this morning doing some light shooting.
Okay, and is it something where you want to see him go through a practice because it's been 4+ weeks? I guess kind of what are the markers that he has to clear between now and an actual return?
Yeah, we're not that close yet, but we'll talk to the medical team about ideally, yes, you get a couple practices. You miss over a month. Ideally, you get a couple practices in, but that's not always a luxury that you have in the NBA. So they'll do whatever work is necessary to get him ready to play.
Yeah, Frank, I've asked this before, but given all the furor around your job, do you feel like you're under siege, and is it hard to do your job, and is it fair?
I don't feel like I'm under siege. It's not hard to do my job. I'm very focused on the task at hand. I've always been that way, and it's really not up to me whether it's fair or not. It comes with the territory. It comes with being the Lakers coach. We have high expectations. This fan base really cares. It's a big market. And, I wouldn't want it any other way, to be honest with you. I want people to care. I want people to want the best. And, to command excellence of our group. That's what we command of ourselves. So that's just the way it is.
All right, guys, so there's Frank Vogel. Plenty of noise going on around Vogel, and as you said, he's trying to just focus on the game, and that would be the Indiana Pacers, who, by the way, Geeter, are expecting to get Malcolm Brogdon back. He's only played one game in the last month or so with a sore Achilles, but Rick Carlisle said he's hopeful that Brogdon plays, though he remains technically a game-time decision.
All right, thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. Guys, I feel like we've been here many times before. Fair or unfair. It's a storyline in every sport, especially when things are not going well. Large markets, as Frank said, the fan base, he wouldn't have it any other way. What were your thoughts when you first heard that story the day after a win?
Gator, I've been around long enough. Yeah. I've seen so many of these situations where coaches are, under the microscope. To me, it doesn't even faze me when I hear it, because I know it's just part of the process. When things aren't going well, when the front office and management have made major moves to put the team in a situation to win a championship, and regardless of injuries or protocol or whatever, and things aren't moving the way that, they think things, you're going to be in the microscope. That's just part of it. Automatic, yeah. No big deal.
Yeah. I've said this from day one, that he has a difficult job, not just because of the talent he has, it's because of being a Lakers coach, and spotlight is always on you. And when you think of what he's had to overcome and endure all season, it's hard. Players being out. Think about it. He's had over, 23 different starting lineups?
45 games.
Yeah, and there is no coach in the league that has this issue. And so I think for people to start, hitting them upside the head with the get out of town bat, they're wrong for that, because he hasn't had a full team. And when you fire coaches or put coaches on the hot seat when their team is not healthy, I just think it's unfair for you to judge them by that. Just 2 years ago, he was winning a championship, and then his team changed. Then his team changed again. People have to understand, it's not always looked upon as being the coach's fault. The coach has to coach the talent he has, and if he keeps changing on him, he has to keep changing his system, he has to get new continuity. So it's difficult as a coach. So, I have to take my hat up to the job that he is doing, and I think he's been unfairly, berated by people.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
But it does come with the territory.
It does, yeah. I use my McDonald's analogy. I want my fries. I don't know what's going on in the kitchen. Yeah. But when I come up to that window, I want my fries, man. I want them hot.
I want them hot.
Y'all deal with that in the back.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, Frank's a pro. He's a great coach.
Yeah,
like you said, it's
totally unfair.